Hello, my darling Fumi Nation. How are you? How are we, my darlings? I hope all is well. Might I say this before I start? I see a lot of you when I go into town, and it is such a joy. Thank you so very much for the laughs, for the jokes, for the stories, for all of the hugs, for all of the kisses. It's really nice to meet you, to meet your family members. And it's also nice to share Adrian with you guys, because sometimes you see him with me, and I appreciate it so much that you don't take pictures, because you know how private I am when it comes to him. But yes, you can see how big Adrian is. So it's really lovely for you to see Ula and how tall he is. Yes, Ula is 6'5". He's a national swim champion. I've said it many times before. 500 medals, 200 gold, baby. And Mama is 5'9". So yes, Adrian is really, really tall for his age. Alrighty, why are we here? Baby, when I tell you, I will tell you this. Let me say this before I start. A little story time, because I know how much you love story time. As you very well know, I've talked about this on my channel before. I had a bunch of girlfriends, or should I say I had a bunch of ladies that I knew, and they did not care for me, but they hid it, they masked it, and so they were not necessarily friends, but they had a common passion, and that passion was to be a hater on me. And yes, they did. It was a hard time, because unbeknownst to me, I really loved some of them. And there was one particular girl that I had known for 10 years. We had modeled together, and when it came to light of the level of deceit and betrayal, I kept my dignity, I kept my silence, and I walked away. Yeah? It was only when I walked away that they realized they had nothing in common, and they began to quarrel, fight with one another. To the point that some of them don't even speak anymore. Well, what's the point? Fumi has left the building. We have no contact with her whatsoever. She's gone on to live her most fabulous life, and we have to sit in the aisles and be forced to watch and be forced to listen. Why do you bring this up for me? Because I have just been informed by royal staff speaking out that King Charles and Prince William aren't talking anymore. Let me continue. And this is news from the palace from Mehera Bana, published on the 5th of February, which was just this past Friday. It goes on to say, because it's good for us to read it, as we're all aware, thanks to Spare, Prince Harry's feud with his relatives have made a lot of headlines over the years. But turns out King Charles and Prince William straight up aren't speaking at the moment. Rob Shutter's Shutter Scoop reports that things between the king and his eldest son are icy at best and explosive at worst. And the source says tensions are worse than they've been in years, adding, it's very bad at the moment. There's real anger on both sides. Apparently, Prince William purposefully snubbed his dad's film premiere at Windsor Castle, which an insider says wasn't a scheduling issue. That was a statement. It goes on to say, a couturier also notes that Charles actually has bigger issues with William than he does with Harry, saying Harry is emotional, reactive, and predictable. William is controlled, strategic, and stubborn. That's much harder. So, what's the issue between them? Power struggles between the king and someone who's soon to be king, basically. They clash because they are too similar, but believe they are right. Neither backs down easily, one source says, while another adds William will be king and he knows it. That changes the power dynamic completely. Tensions have seemingly been brewing for a while now. Back in December, a source told Us Weekly that Charles is not thrilled about the narrative that William's in control, and he doesn't feel great about it, as he has finally attained the position he has waited for his whole life. Now that he's king, everyone is focused on who will come next. Charles wants William to succeed, but William can be strong-minded and stubborn. So, now that Harry is out of the way, you now realize that Harry was not an issue. All Harry did was fight for his wife. He said, you know what? You all been doing this for a minute and a half. You did this to my mama. You're out here with, innuendos talking about, maybe I can't really be the king's son because of my red hair. I really haven't felt like a part of this family for a minute and a half. Really have not. Let me go on and do my own thing. And Harry is his true mama. So when he saw Meghan on Instagram, on his friend's page, he said, who this? Fell in love with her before he knew her. Meghan came out here in these streets and she said, you know what? Love the man, let's do our thing. But the press showed her who they were. And she turned to Harry and said, Harry, listen, I have a mad family of my own. I know what this is. Trust and believe. And because of that, I'm not trying to be here to do it again with these folk. I'm a grown woman. I made my own money. I've done my own thing. I don't need to be berated here every day. Harry said, say less. You know what? Pack our bags. And then from there, Tyler Perry said, I got to play for all of you all. Before the border shut in Canada, they were out, and out. Because the royal family, like all families, it's only because it's royal, they've got their own SHIT to deal with, starting with Andrew. And they wanted a detour with Meghan. Let Meghan be the scapegoat. Why? Because Meghan was half black. Because Meghan was the sexiest thing on heels and stockings that the royal palace had seen in a minute. And let us really call it all the way, all the way, all the way. She was the only one that people wanted to come out and really see. It was no longer the Kate effect. It was the Meghan effect. And I love both, but Meghan came out here with some kind of electricity that just could not be denied. When you got it, you got it. And Meghan was different. She was married to this pair. So what? Hey, we have other members of the family that are a little bit jealous. Why are they getting all the attention? It was Princess Diana all over again. Let us drop the truth serums. But once they left, of which they still put Meghan in the press. Why? Because Meghan sells papers. Because Meghan sells news. Because Meghan has about 3,000 people that rely on stories and lies about her to feed their own family at home out here in the United Kingdom. Yeah, it's true. Yeah, it's true. I'm a Sussex squad. Meghan Sussex, because you guys have corrected me in the comment section. You know I'm from Meghan all the way. It's because it sticks in my head, Meghan Markle. But she's a Sussex. She's a Sussex with her husband, with her 2 children. Meghan Sussex it is. Salute. Thank you, Fumi Nation, for putting it in the comment section enough times for me to get it right. And so, guess what? That didn't solve any problem. It never does. Because nobody goes to the root of it. Because most families, let's sweep everything under the carpet and pretend that we're not choking from the dust. Let us pretend that nothing is happening. But you know what? There's always a black sheep in the family. There's always somebody that will remind you that you are telling lies. That was Harry. Harry was the truth serum. Harry was the one that just, he tried, he slept on it. He really tried to be with these folk. He couldn't. It didn't sit with his spirit, because no matter what, the King Charles, you have 2 sons that are born from the same womb, but they are both very different. And you cater to one than the other. How do you think the other one would feel? How do you think? Rejected, insulted, abused, ill-treated. What Harry has gone through is unspeakable, that a father would be alive to see that go on. But guess what? I tell you this. You see King William, that you did not see coming, that you really, now you're talking about, oh, Harry is emotional, he's this, he's that, Harry is a good guy. From what we have seen, standing up correct for his wife, any day, you got a seat. You're invited to the cookout. The other cool and calculated, let me just double check the words that they described. Yes. While Harry is emotional, reactive, and predictable, William is controlled, strategic, and stubborn. Stubborn means non-negotiable. Stubborn means I'm not budging. Stubborn means I'll see it to the end. And those are qualities a king should have. The thing is that you've got to be prepared if you want to go up a king. Now you realize now that the distractions distracted themselves from the distractions, you see it for what it is. You have former Prince Andrew, who is nothing short of an utter disgrace. And you hushed it up. The palace hushed it up. You knew. Quiet as it's kept. I sometimes wonder when Donald Trump came with Melania, just ever so recently, maybe he just told Charles, you know what, get Andrew together because he gotta go, because we're going to release some more Epstein files and it's bad. I have to bring it up every single time because you had Meghan Markle Sussex, because you had Meghan Sussex out here and you dragged her from pillar to post. She was the sacrificial lamb. You did not care because you wanted to save your own. And yet, Prince Andrew, former Prince Andrew, has 2 girls of his own. He has daughters of his own. The wife was there, always begging for money. When I first came into this country in the early 90s, she was out in Spain getting her toes sucked. I will never forget, that was way before social media. What social media then was Hello Magazine and OK Magazine. I ran down to the newspaper stand. They were sold out. There was just one that was in between the stand that I ripped out from about 5 other hands. And that's how I ran back home with snacks and chocolates. And I read page after page after page after page. That was Fergie. Then Fergie wanted to sell her husband introduction. They said, I'll introduce you to my man. Yeah, $500,000. Always looking for money because you're living above your means. That's the royal family. And then now, guess what? William and Charles are not speaking. Are we surprised? No. Because the root of the problem is right there. And you'll have to sort it out yourselves. I'm going to start spitting out truth serums. I'm not going to be out here coaxing around the bonfire. I'm going to jump right in and I'll just let you know, guys, this is what we're working with. Because the truth has to be said.
Let's talk about receipts, numbers, and why certain corners of the internet are suddenly very quiet. Because Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex, just did that. Meghan's lifestyle brand, as ever, appears to have sold close to 1 million units of her fruit spreads. Just her fruit spreads alone. And let me tell you, from personal experience, these fruit spreads are top-notch. So the actual inventory numbers were briefly visible on the website. It showed what was left in stock, and the math did the rest. Nearly 900,000 boxes sold. An estimate of £27 million, which is about $36 million, generated from fruit spreads and companion products. Fruit spreads, candles, honey, wine, all moving, all in demand. And let's address the noise that came before this. The claims about missing candle wicks, the stories about destroyed boxes and shipping, the whispers about returns and failures. That narrative circulated loudly. But the numbers shut it down completely. This is market demand in black and white. Economics 101, supply and demand. This is scalability. This is a brand that sold out in hours, expanded production, and required million-unit purchase orders within months of its launch. This part is for the derangers, the monarchists, the haters who've been waiting for years to see Meghan fail. You waited, you speculated, you predicted collapse. What showed up instead was a business pulling in tens of millions of dollars and proving something very simple. Meghan is marketable. Meghan is in demand. The Meghan effect is real. And that's the read. This is the Notorious JTB, notoriously opinionated, signing out.
Because again, like I said, the way they ragged Meghan Sussex, it was unfair. It was unfair. There was no need. and everybody sat back and did nothing. They turned away and did nothing. Why? Because she was black. Because she was half black. Because she was Harry's wife. I'm old enough to remember back in the day when Princess Diana passed away and William and Harry were ever so little. And I don't know why I did. I made a promise. In my way, I will always watch out for them. I will always have their back. I will always have their back. And the world has changed. And social media is very much part of our lives. And so we get an insight of what's going on. And Fumi Nation, of whom I live and love, you're out here giving me all kinds of tea. And thank you for sending me this. That's all I gotta say. I'll be back for part 2, 3, 4, 8, 10, 17, and 25. Alright, my darlings, I gotta go. I live and love you. What am I wearing? I'm just wearing a very lovely light knit, very zhage. This is Ralph Lauren, but I got it on sale from the outlets. So it retailed for like £250. I got it for £17. And then I have this fabulous knit pant also, which I live and love, and it's Ralph Lauren as well. It was retailing for about 500 pounds, and I got it for 25. Why not? You know, a little, shing ding, because we're coming into spring. So that's it. I'm going for a light lunch, light meeting. Where's my beauty blender? Okay, I'm going out for a light lunch. Yes, light meeting. And thank you very much, my darlings. Do not forget to like, to subscribe, to hit the notification button. And I'll see you sooner than later. Mwah! All of my love. Take care of yourselves, okay?